384. My name is Keith Andrew. I'm here with David Peters, and I also want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
You betcha. I appreciate you asking me to be on.
Now, for people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something, and at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. Right? You should never give up, and you should prove people wrong, and also to show them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so you should hashtag break the labels. So that being said, half hour, 35 minutes of your time, say anything you want, talk about whatever you want. And starting off, what can you tell us about yourself?
Well, first I want to say that I congratulate you on what you're doing. When we first started talking, and you told me about the situation that you have, that you're in, and that you're doing a show, that really touched me quite a bit, to be honest with you. I think it's fantastic what you're doing. I've always believed that people can do anything they really set their mind to. I've been a very big believer in that. And personally with me is I did also have some learning disabilities in school growing up. When I was transitioning from 5th grade to 6th grade, it was back in the day before, it was right when it turned to middle school. I'm a little older, so they had elementary, junior high, and high school, and they transitioned to a middle school. So 6th grade, I went to a new school, and I accomplished 6th grade okay, but my counselor told me that, or my parents actually said that David is either going to have to repeat 6th grade or he's going to have to get the special education classes because he is not up to 6th grade level. Now, I've always been a good kid, okay, where I was not a troublemaker. I was a very good kid growing up through elementary school. I wasn't learning very well, and the teachers just kind of let me through,
Yeah.
like, oh, he's a good kid. Usually the kids that got held back were the troublemakers. They weren't good in school, so they had to held back. For me, I was a good kid. They just kept me going and going and going, and luckily I had a counselor that said, hold on, stop. David needs help because he's not learning, he's not up to level, and we're going to lose him if we continue to just push him forward. And I didn't get good grades, and I don't know why. I don't know what it was. If it was truly a learning disability, or if I was just lazy, or I just wasn't learning, or I was distracted, whatever. But because of that, I did have to go into the special classes, where there were smaller classes with a teacher with maybe 10 students instead of 30, right? So I had to get into individual help. But by the time 7th grade was over, I was actually a lot closer to the 8th grade level. So when I went to the next level, I got introduced back into the regular mainstream classes. I was really good in the arts, my art side of my brain. Left, right, I don't know what that is. But that is the me. The academic part really sucks. I hated the English and the math and all that kind of stuff, but I really succeeded in like science, but in my art classes and drafting classes and a guitar class and my photography class, and I did some drama. I was kind of an entertainer. I learned how to use my personality to influence people, and I learned a lot about people because I didn't have that intelligence level academically, but I learned more socially, I think, social skills to do that. And so I ended up graduating high school, which was good, barely. I passed. Where my brother, he was a year younger than me. He didn't even have to study, and he got A's, right? I had to work my ass off. Can I say that on your show? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's freedom of speech, freedom of self-expression.
There you go. I'll keep that down to the minimum. But I had to work my butt off to just graduate. But all my art classes and stuff, I did A's. All those other classes, I got A's and B's on because that's what I really enjoyed doing. So I did end up graduating, which was good. I ended up not going into college or anything, but I started in sales because I realized I was able to use my personality and my people skills more to compensate for the lack of the learning or the intelligent level kind of thing. And I was beat up as a kid. I was bullied. I had people just beat the crap out of me because I was kind of a little guy. So I really feel for people that have disabilities that have been bullied. I had great supportive parents. They helped us with whatever we wanted to do. So I was very fortunate, and I know it very much. Like when I wanted to learn guitar, they would go get me a guitar, give me classes and my painting and art and stuff like that. So I was very fortunate with that, but I do understand being bullied. I understand having a learning disability. Though it wasn't very severe, it was still difficult. I had difficult times to do that. Got into sales, got into entertainment. The last 7 years, I've actually been doing acting. And I started off with some improv classes, which are fantastic and a fun way to just get out there and get your... it's fun. It's really, I recommend improv classes for anybody, just even for normal life social skills, because it teaches you to listen and then interact with that. But I've been an actor for the last 7 years. I used to live in Sacramento, California, and recently, within the last, I've been in Los Angeles now for a year and a half. So I moved to Hollywood. I did the Hollywood move. I figured it was like 6 years or so of acting, and I did everything I could do in Sacramento. I did TV and film and commercials and all that, but it's a small market. It's a good place to start. And I figured, if I'm going to do this, if I really want to do this, I have to move to LA. There's only a few places you can really be an actor. New York, LA. There's a lot of filming that happen in like Atlanta and New Orleans, but they bring the big actors from LA to there. Unless if you want to be a background actor. But I sacrificed. I owned a house up in Sacramento that I raised my son in, and my son's older now. He moved out. I rented rooms out to be able to save money for about a year or so. I sold my house I lived in for 21 years. I quit my job after 10 years. I was an account manager at a supply company for 10 years. And I quit my job. So I quit the job, sold the house. I had my mom up there. I moved her down with me and got an apartment in LA to follow my dreams and goals. Been here for a year and a half and have had the best time of my life. Being able to do pretty much anything I want. I've done lots of TV shows, even if it's background work. I've done commercials. Just so many things. It's been great to be able to do that. Risky, yeah. Los Angeles is very expensive. Fortunately, I had some money in my account for selling my house, so I pretty much use that. My investment is what I'm living on, but I'm making money, a little bit here and there along the way. But following my dreams and having an awesome time at it.
Now, while on the subject, what were some of your favorite TV shows that you've been on, and what were some of your favorite commercials that you've done?
Okay, the TV shows, it's been really good. This last year or so, I've been on more than 17 TV shows. Most of them are background work, because it does take quite a bit to get a good, nice featured role or something like that, and I'm still non-union. But I did... quite a few. One was Code Black. I was on Code Black twice, actually, but I had a 6-day shoot on Code Black where I played a convict that had a riot, prison riot, and they had everybody was bloodied up really bad, so they brought you into the hospital for that kind of thing, which was pretty good. So that was really fun. Got a chance to be put on blood all the time and wear the jumpsuit and handcuffs and all that. And then also for Training Day. Training Day was good. Bill Paxton was in Training Day. He recently passed away, which is unfortunately. But I was also a convict. I was in jail. I seem to get the white supremacist convict roles because I'm a white guy with a shaved head, But which is good. It's an interesting character for me because it's something that is totally not me at all. Because I love everybody. I am not that way, and I'm not violent or anything. But getting a chance to play those roles is kind of fun. But then I've done things like I dress up in a suit and tie. I could be a professional, and I'm more of a character actor. So I do anything from shirt and tie to hardened criminal type roles. So the TV shows, there's just so many of them that I've had a little part on. Most of them you probably don't even see me because that's what happens. But being on set is fantastic. For commercials, I've had a little spot in a Jack in the Box commercial. I've done some tech kind of commercials. A lot of them, again, you may or may not even see. There's nothing very big, but getting on set and doing stuff is what I really enjoy doing. And if you can get paid while you're doing it too, is even better. So that helps a lot.
No, absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you some hard-hitting questions. Then I'm going to pass the show over to you.
All right.
Andrew, along here is David Peters. And I just want to say thank you for sticking with us.
Yeah, you betcha, man.
Now I'm going to ask you some easy, hard-hitting questions. But before I get to the book, first thing I want to ask you is about, because this show is mostly about learning disabilities. And I know over the years we touched on the subject. People always ask me, and you can ask me anything you want, freedom of speech, self-expression. But you did mention you have a disability. So I kind of want to focus on that because that's the whole point. Besides turning myself into an example, it's also having guests on the show talking about their life experience. So with that being said, trying to find the words, how did it feel to find out you were diagnosed as being handicapped? And did you let that be a burden for you, or how did you cope with it?
Well, it was, again, I was in 6th grade when the counselor told me that he's going to have to stay another year, get repeated back or go into classes. My brother is a year younger than me. And so with my parents also, they said, okay, so if he stays back a year, that means he'll be in classes with his younger brother. And that might be a disheartening to me that I have to go do classes with my younger brother. So that's when we all kind of decided to do the special classes to help, where I can still be 7th grade but get individual help. And it was, how did I feel? I knew it was difficult for me in school. I was struggling, and so it was very again, difficult to try to keep up with the class. When you had to get in front of the class to do the spelling bee kind of thing and whatever, I was scared to death. I did not want to do it because my spelling was horrible. Or get in front of the class to do a math problem or things like that. I was scared to death to do that kind of thing. So, and a lot of times on the special classes, there is also a lot of times the bully kids are in there too. Yeah. Because like I say, usually they held the kids back that were more of troublemakers as such, because they weren't learning, they were just causing trouble, whatever. So it was interesting to get in some of those classes with a couple of those kids that were kind of the bullies. And I think a lot of times because they have disabilities of some kind, they take it out on other people. And so it took a little while to do it, but then I did realize that I was getting the help that I needed, and I was starting to learn at that point, getting that more individual help. And so, excuse me.
Yeah, I know I have that effect on people.
So as the end of 7th grade came around, and I was starting to actually to catch up, and I realized that I needed help, and it was a good thing that I was in those classes. I got teased and, like I said, beat up for one reason or another, not really because of those classes, but just because I was a smaller kid, and other kids are pretty cruel sometimes, old bastards, but they have their own, I'm sure they have their own issues, their own family issues and stuff like that. And so going into 8th grade, being able to get put into, regular 8th grade kind of mainstream classes, I did feel accomplished that I was actually able to. Now, it was still difficult. It was still very hard. And I really struggled all through high school, even with a lot of those classes. But being able to do it and accomplish that was good. But it did feel, I say, a little disheartening when they said, "Hey, you're not up to level. You know, you're gonna have to stay back with the younger kids." It was difficult, but again, after getting that help, I was able to get up to a little bit more mainstream because it wasn't very severe of a problem that I had. Again, it might have been, nowadays they might diagnose that as the ADHD, or they have so many names for things of kids that are just not up to speed or learning. There's so many different levels of that. Mine wasn't a very deep level; it was kind of a light level, but I was still having challenges. So it, but I kind of got through it, and even today, as an actor, I have to memorize lines, and for me that's difficult. I actually really have to work hard. I hate it when people can read something and memorize it, and I've seen actors that can do that, can read it a couple times, and they've got it down. I have to really study, and I have to go over it like 1,000 times. I record it into I found different ways to do it. Yeah, how I had to find a way that works. And if I record the lines into my phone and listen and say it and listen and say it and kind of playback, it helps me memorize the lines that I have to memorize. So it's still not easy for me, but I push through it and I do it because it's what I enjoy doing.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. I'm the same way. I'm going to give you an example. Here's a book, and say, okay, today we're going to read chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. People are like, okay. But for me, you have to read 1, then we do 2, then we go back to 1 and go 2. I'm more hands-on than just saying, here's a book, go read it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people, for memorizing lines, they actually have to write it out, because a lot of times it works different with your brain. Even though you have the script there, but if you write it yourself, you're writing and you're thinking and you're talking it out and you're doing all this stuff to help embed it. That works for a lot of people too, is to rewrite what it is you have to memorize.
No, absolutely. Now, on the next question I was going to ask you, a little fun subject that just came on Spin. Have you ever worked in retail before?
Yeah, actually, when I got out of high school, instead of going to college, I ended up getting a job in retail, and I kind of got stuck there because I was earning more money than my friends were going to college, and they were and I'm earning money, and when they got out of college, they had to go find a job, a lot of times earning minimum wage. So I was earning more money by that time than my friends in college. But eventually that catches up and they can actually get better jobs earning more. But I've always been in sales. I've pretty much always been in retail. I've sold pretty much everything or almost everything. And a couple of other, just accomplishments. And this can go out to everybody, anybody and everybody. I again, as I said before, is I always encourage people that they can do anything they set their mind to. Even with my disabilities that I've had, though they were lighter than a lot, I still have challenges. I owned my first business at 18 years old. I had a jewelry business. And what I did is I found somebody, a friend of mine who was a few years older than me, that was doing something that I wanted to do. And I said, teach me how to do that. And they taught me how to have my own business. So I got a business license, and it was a jewelry business. So I saved up money and bought gold and silver necklaces and resold them, made a markup, and was selling. And he did repairs for me and stuff like that. So I had my own business at 18. I bought my first house when I was 21 years old. Again, I had mentors. I had my friends that were older than me had bought houses. And I said, how do you do that? How can I do that? And I worked my butt off and figured a way. I had to move. I grew up in San Jose, the Bay Area, just south of San Francisco. And to be able to do what I wanted to, I had to move because I couldn't afford it. So I moved to Sacramento. I had some friends I grew up with that moved to Sacramento, and they bought their house. They were a few years older than me, a few more years advanced in knowledge and money, experience. I said, how do I do this? And I went and bought my first house then. I ended up getting married and buying a second house at the age of 25. So we actually had two houses. I had rentals. And that's the house that I recently sold. I was in there for 21 years to raise my kid. And so I always tell and encourage people, if you figure out what you want to do, there's always someone that has done it. There's really no new wheels here, and there's always a way. Whatever it is you want to do, like you're doing your talk show. You probably didn't know how to do it before you started doing it, but I'm sure you learned how somehow. There's people out there that can teach you. There's YouTube. There's the Google Internet. You can learn anything you want to do. You can learn how to do it. You just have to get yourself to do it. Again, it doesn't matter what people say, about you, whether they like you or don't or discourage you. You have to do it for yourself. There is always a way to do something, no matter what, or no matter who you are. And again, that's why I applaud you for doing your show. With your disabilities, this is something you want to do, and you're doing it, which is fantastic.
No, I agree with you. And I basically had to do my show over a couple of times. I won't mention any names, but, they were assholes about it.
Yeah.
Because, first they said, oh, you're wasting people's times, or you're stalking people, or you're imposing on people to get them on your show, or some whatever excuses, and then they found something else about you're not copyrighted, you're not this, you're not that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, screw it. I went to a lawyer, said, can I ask you a couple of quick questions? He's a lawyer, senior advisor. Mm-hmm. And it's like, do I have to be copyrighted? I said, no, you don't, because you have an online presence. People seem to know who you are. Do I have to be trademarked? No, you don't have to be trademarked, because you're not making money, and you're just got to be pissing away $2,000, and because you're not making money, all you got to do is put yourself in debt. He said, but your biggest mistake was that like you said, and going forward, people have to sign a permission form. Basically, I wrote up a form. I introduce myself. I tell you what the show's about. You've given me 100% to do whatever I want with the interview, as long as it's professional and it's very respectful of both parties. And you are signing it before we do the interview, saying, I give you permission to interview me, and have at it with the interview. He said that was your biggest mistake, that you were taking people at their word. So when I was originally called, I'm a wrestling fan, so I liked how WWE had, Snickers and Hershey's presents, Backlash or WrestleMania. I was like, well, I have the KeithAndrewNetWork. Well, why not have the KeithAndrewNetWork present Uncensored? And so I was originally called Uncensored. And little by little, people were saying to me, yeah, and this is how they talk. Yeah, my agent said, my publicist said, you're degrading, you ask a lot of stupid questions, we don't like the video quality, we don't want to be seen with people like you, you're putting a face on, or whatever stupid excuses, or they make auto threats to me, saying, if you don't take it down, we're going to sue you. And so I did it over. And that's when I got the 300. I was pissed. I was like, yes, I got the 300. Then I got the carpet ripped out from under me. And that's like, fine, to do it over again. And to be honest, in total, I did over 700 interviews. Wow. And thanks to you, we're back over to 300. So, once I begin 400, it's going to be 7. But right now it's over 600. And it's basically showing you, look at what I can accomplish. I'm handicapped, mentally challenged, retarded, or whatever excuses people want to label on me. But look at what I'm able to accomplish with those labels.
Yeah, and that's great. And I have a show also. I'm a co-host on a show called The Bruise Brothers, and we talk about current events. We sometimes have guests on as well. So I do understand the thing with the guests in there. And and we do it on the YouTube channel to keep us in front of the camera and get some hosting experience, and we just have a good time doing it. And again, it doesn't matter what other people think or say. It's you doing what you want to do, and that's what's nice about the technology now with YouTube. And with our country is you could do anything you want to do, as long as you're not hurting somebody or it's not illegal, but I don't know why people would be so upset. Now I guess any big stars or somebody that has a whole PR department behind them and things like that are so on such a huge level, of course they're going to be a little bit more selective on who they're going to interview with and things, because they have to have that image and stuff like that, and you can't. They have people advising them, and that's their thing. That's their life. You just move on. You'll find other people that want to be on your show or up and coming. I think of myself as an up and coming star. I try to reach out to the people. I like helping people. I want to be there to support and encourage people along the way to bring everybody up with us. You know what I mean? And I think what you're doing is great. I don't mind coming here, sitting here and talking with you. And hopefully someone will see this and get encouraged to follow their dreams and goals and do what they want to do. Even if it's, you're sitting there, it looks like it's your bedroom, whatever. I have a little studio. I'm in my bedroom too, actually, to be honest with you. But I set up a little backdrop and I have some lights. And so it's a little mini studio. And it's something that's easy to do, easy to set up. You may do this yourself, and maybe make the quality of your video a little bit better, and the surroundings. And like I say, behind these curtains is my bed, but you don't know that. It looks like I'm in a studio, and that's how I do a lot of my own personal show, and it's easy to do. Again, you can Google it or YouTube how to set up a home studio. And these drapes are from Walmart, for a few bucks each. And I have a backdrop stand on there, and I have a couple of lights set up. And right now I'm talking to you on my laptop with the built-in webcam. Now I also have another camera set up with other monitors for my desktop computer, but I didn't want to try to set that up with the Skype. But it's anything. You could do anything. And I'm happy to sit here and talk with you to, help you along with your show. And don't let anybody says crap about it. Move them along. It's because their opinion, their opinion of you is none of your business.
And how you know I'm in a bedroom? How you know if it's just not my own studio?
Yeah. And it's your home studio. Again, you can do a few little things to make it a little better if you wanted to. But you're doing something, which is a lot of people are afraid to even start doing something. I just did a job yesterday, and it was for a educational program. It was for like a school, and I was playing the therapist, and there was a kid there that was 15. That was playing opposite of me, and I was a therapist for a troublemaker kid, basically, and he's fairly new in acting, and I encouraged him to just continue to start making your own content, do your own things. Nowadays with cell phones and the video quality of cell phones, and you can get free programs to edit video. I said, get together with your friends and start making something. Do something. If that's what you want to do, get the camera on, turn it towards you, and do something. It may suck for a while. It may be horrible, but you're doing something. You start someplace, and then you learn, and you get better, and you get better at doing it. You get better at the quality. You get better at editing. And it just takes time, but get out there and start and do something for yourself. That's like what you've done.
No, absolutely. Now, wrapping up our talk show, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But
okay.
Wrapping up, when I first approached you, actually, before I ask this question,
okay.
One, are you on social media? Are you on LinkedIn, Twitter, Stage 32?
I'm on lots of things. The easiest way to find me is a couple ways. You can either Google David L. Peters, and if you do David L. Peters, you'll find everything about me. But I also have a website. It's davidlpeters.com. On there, at the bottom of my front page, I have links to my LinkedIn, my YouTube, my Facebook, my Instagram, my IMDb, which is an internet movie database, so you can go and see all the different TV shows and stuff that I've been on. So pretty much all my contact information is at the bottom of my website on there. So davidlpeters.com. You can find me all over the place. Please sign on, like my pages, give me request friendships and whatnot, and I'd be happy to put people on.
No, absolutely. And my last question for you for the interview segment is, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first honest reaction? And after being interviewed, how did you feel now?
Again, honest with you, is when you first approached me, of course, I didn't know who you were. I don't know how we got connected. I don't even remember if it was through Facebook or how we got connected. I don't even remember because it's been a while. Was it Twitter? Yeah, I don't know. But when you said that you have disabilities, but you also have your own talk show, and it's to and your mission basically of showing people that they can do anything, even if you have a handicap or disability, and you're doing this talk show. To be honest with you, I was actually very happy to see that because of my background, and you didn't know. You didn't know I had disabilities. You didn't know where I came from. You didn't know a lot about me other than maybe I was an actor. I'm in LA and doing acting and stuff. So because I've been someone so adamant about helping other people along the way and being in that position, I thought it was a great thing, to be honest with you, of what you were doing. I was like, really? You got your own talk show? Even though you're tackling your disabilities, you're overcoming this stuff to do it. I thought that was fantastic, and I want to help you. And so the second part of that question is how I feel about it. I feel exactly the same way. I'm glad you're doing this. You seem like a really nice guy, and I know this is not easy for you.
Yeah.
I know you struggle with it. But I commend you on. Is that your kitty cat?
Yes.
You have a cat. Oh well. I really commend you for doing what you're doing, overcoming your challenges, turning that camera on, getting in front of the camera and me and whoever else is watching, to put yourself out there. I know it's difficult. I know it's uncomfortable for you, because it is for most anybody. Normal people, as such, if you call them normal, are afraid to get in front of the cameras. It's like the biggest fear is not the fear of dying; it's the fear of public speaking. And it takes a lot just to get in front of somebody to say something. So I hope this works out for you for the best. I hope you continue to do this, and continue. The more you do it, the better you'll get. And people say crap about it or about you, brush it off like the dust off your shoulders. Who cares? Well, their opinion of you is none of your business. It's your life. We all have a short period of time on this earth. Do what you got to do. Help yourself. Help others. And enjoy it along the way.
Oh, absolutely. We're wrapping up the interview segment. I do have a couple questions off the air. Wrapping up our segment, it was a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Sounds good, man. We'll definitely keep in touch for sure.